Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to be talking about the startup bill and your business, how and if it is relevant for you. So the first thing I want to say is that it's called the Startup Act because it's passed by the House of Assembly at the federal level. So if it is passed by the legislature at the state level, it's called a law. So if it was passed by, say, Lagos State or Ogun State or Rivers State, it would have been called the Startup Law. But because it is passed at the federal level, it is called the Startup Act. So it is the Startup Act 2022. It was passed into law 19th of October 2022. Who is the Startup Act for? The Startup Act is primarily targeted at companies involved in digital technology. Everything that digital technology can cover, they are the ones that stand to benefit out of the Startup Act. If you can connect your business somehow to digital technology, if you can relate it somehow to digital technology, then you can benefit from the Startup Act. The second thing is that the Startup Act is actually posed at helping companies that are registered as limited liability companies, not as business names. A limited liability company is a company whose entity, whose personality is separate from the owner that registered it. Business name is cheaper to register. A business name is tied to the personality of the person that owns it or that runs it. But a limited liability company is not. So you can sue a limited liability company by itself and it can stand. But you cannot sue a business name like that. So the startup bill is going to recognize companies who are limited liability companies. Now, if your digital technology business is registered as a business name, then there is going to be opportunity under the act for you to upgrade. They are going to give you a space of time within which you can upgrade to be a limited liability company. Now, the process of upgrading is going to require going to CAC and doing a few things. So let me, from that angle, enter this point. In order to make business registration and licensing easier and more seamless for digital technology companies, the Secretariat for the Startup Act, they're going to have a base of where they will operate from. They are going to have a base of where their officers can be found and all. It's going to be in the office of the Nigerian Information Technology Development Agency. And of course, they're going to have an online presence. They're going to have a portal where you can interact with them. So on their online presence, there's going to be an access to be able to get registrations, licenses, and permits from government agencies. So for example, the business name that wants to upgrade, there is a pathway that is going to be created for CAC on their portal. If you want to register a trademark, they're going to create a pathway so that through their portal, you can enter the trademark website and do what you need to do. Through their portal, you can enter SEC. That is for bigger companies that want to be registered on the stock exchange. There's going to be a portal on their website that you are going to be able to find access to do all of that. A startup company, according to the Act, is one that from the date of registration to the date that is applying to the agency is less than 10 years. So which means that it has to be less than 10 years as at the time it is applying to be considered a startup. You are considered a startup. So the Act says something about you'll be labeled a startup. So from the date of application to the date of registration, the company is less than 10 years. That is a company that will be considered a startup. Now, there's going to be a lot of monitoring for the companies registered as startups because you are going to have to give them an annual report that will state your total number of employees, your total number of assets, and your annual turnover. So the agency is going to have an eye in your business. They are going to know what's operating in your business. Of course, they are going to give you incentives for you to want to come to them and be registered because you are free out there now. What is going to make you want to register? So they have incentives to bring companies in to want to register. One of the incentives they're going to give you is certain targeted tax reliefs. They're going to get some tax reliefs if you register with them. You're also going to be entitled to a seed fund. There is an opportunity to create a seed fund. It's more detailed in the act, but I don't want to get into all that technicality. There's going to be a seed fund from which you'll be able to access funds for your business, because digital technology can be capital intensive at times. There's also going to be opportunity for public-private partnership, partnering with universities and institutions for research and things like that, partnering with international agencies. There are plenty of opportunities. The opportunity for PPP created by the Act is very wide. It's a wide base that a lot of public-private endeavors can collaborate upon for the development of the digital technology space in Nigeria. Of course, something they also plan is that you are going to enjoy trainings. So they are going to host trainings. If they are going to host trainings, definitely they are likely going to bring facilitators and experienced institutions to come and train those who are registered with them. So those are the things you stand to benefit. On the one hand, the government wants to document those who are in this business. It's an evolving space. It's an evolving space, and it is the, so let's say, next generation, the current generation, level of the world. So Nigeria is making plans based on what we see to enter into it, and it wants to draw in those who are already profiting from it. Of course, when they draw you in, they'll be able to see what your company is worth. They will charge you tax and other levies, but then you stand to benefit it. So it's supposed to be a win-win situation where it will be worth your time registering with them. Now, you know that if you are going to register with them, if you work with government agencies, one of the things they ask you is your statement of account, your books of account, or at least they'll ask you for your tax identification number. Sometimes they don't ask you for audited account or anything, but they ask you for tax identification number. Sometimes they ask you for tax clearance for the past 3 years, because they have incorporated it into a lot of benefits we stand to gain from them, because it's their way of generating revenue. I'm now going to be hosting a 1-hour seminar on the 26th of November. I've been telling you about the live meeting I'm going to have. So this is it. A 1-hour seminar on the 26th of November, 7 p.m., where I'm going to be discussing tax for small businesses. Startups are small businesses, and other small businesses. You don't have to be, so you can be less than 10 years and be big, right? Based on what you do. But then you can be less than 10 years and be small. Or you can be more than 10 years and still be small. So I'm talking about tax for small businesses. Maybe you run the business alone, or you have just one person who works with you, 1 or 2 people. Your turnover is not too large. You should pay your tax. Now, a lot of people don't like doing numbers. So that's why they don't even get involved in that space. Welcome home. I also don't like doing numbers. But I have found a simplified way to teach you the basic taxes, not everything. The basic taxes where you can start from. Because nobody is looking forward to the day that you are just going to meet. If you live in Lagos, you can just get your door one day and you will see a letter from LIRS saying that you are owing them tax for the past 5 years, and your heart is going to skip a bit. But if you have been doing a bit of this, you are not going to get any of that. You can just get to your bank one day and then they will tell you that there's a lien on your account because you are not paying tax. All those things. But you can forestall them if you pay your tax. So who are you paying tax to? What tax are you paying? Who is paying tax? Who is not paying tax? How to calculate that tax. Basic taxes for small businesses. That's what we're going to be discussing in that 1-hour meeting. I can assure you it's going to be as simplified as can be. If I don't like numbers and I can do this, then I'm sure you can do it too. So the link to register for that live meeting will be in the description section at the bottom of this video. Thank you for watching. See you again tomorrow. Bye.